May began with a flush of beautiful white blossoms. While the orchards bloomed behind us, the one crabapple tree, which my bedroom window overlooks, made the most gorgeous view to look down upon, and the most charming welcome for anyone who came up the path to the front door. As the month slipped by, all too quickly, the blossoms were carried away and scattered like confetti on the ground. Then came time to prepare our little kitchen garden, turning the soil over, removing weeds, and adding some much-needed topsoil and compost. After the last frost, I planted out my dahlias, a favorite cafe au lait, the prettiest pinky cream blooms. It's good to see the little eyes growing, so I gave them a good soak before I planted them and got them in the ground. Then I planted out my peony tubers. Unfortunately, these had already started, so I wasn't sure if they would even take, but I threw them in anyway. The package had instructed that they be planted after the last frost, but I think for our area that's too long to wait. I had already noticed that many peonies were already well up by the time mine went in. We'll see what they do. By mid-May, the fragrance outside was so heady, a mix of blossoms and lily of the valley and lilac. If you could just bottle the scent, it would be the floral scent of springtime in the garden. With the threat of frost past, I began planting out some vegetable starts. Despite this being a kitchen garden, I do like it to look pretty, so I tend to plant things that appeal to me, some cabbages and cauliflowers, some different kales and arugulas, as well as beans, cucumbers, and zucchini. Aside from planting some things out, I also spent a little time filling out the antique plant stand that I have on the porch. When I had first thought about how I wanted this home to look, how I wanted the front porch to be, I envisioned a pair of rockers on the living room side to the left of the front door, and a small cafe set just outside the kitchen door. I just wasn't quite sure what to do with the middle section. Then I remembered an image that I had saved from Julia Berolzheimer. She had a similar antique stand, and she planted it with an assortment of different plants. I loved the way this looked, so I told my dad if in his travels he came across an antique plant stand to let me know. A few months later, for my birthday, my mom and dad gifted me this beautiful one that's just perfect for this space. Planting up this little stand brought me so much joy. I just love the look of all the antique pots in different sizes, planted with an assortment of things, herbs, different ivies, and a few flowering bits that don't mind the shade. Each morning, I go out with my coffee and check on how things are growing and give it all a good drink. It just proves you don't need to have a lot of space to have a bit of garden that brings you joy. The herbs I planted last year have come in so beautifully, and my strawberries are full of what promises to be a bountiful harvest. I also planted a couple of little pots for our steps, just a little something low maintenance to make the steps a little more welcoming. Next, I need to tackle creating some supports. I need some for my beans and also something for the cucumbers. I will also have to figure out what to do with my dahlias that seem to be quite tasty to something in the garden. Last year, I had the same issue, so I sprayed them all with a dish soap mix and put some hair around them, which seemed to help, but I have to do more research. I've also had to be very patient with one of my climbing roses we transplanted. It really struggled the first winter, and I didn't think it was going to make it. I kept adding coffee grinds to it occasionally. My husband would add the ash from the wood stove to give it extra nutrients. Last year, one small little green shoot grew off it, showing all hope wasn't lost. This year, there are a few other tiny ones growing off that pruned one, so it will be a while before it does anything significant. But I refuse to give up on it. It's a gorgeous climbing rope, Old Wollerton Hall by David Austin, so I will just try to practice patience. But isn't that what gardening is all about? Planting things in hope something beautiful will come of it all? Occasionally dealing with something threatening that hope. Some pest nibbling away at your leaves or basilicas. Not enough water, too much water. Not enough sunlight, too much sunlight. Trying to puzzle it all out and figure out what each needs to thrive. Gardening can be equal parts frustrating and rewarding, but it does always remind me it's an exercise in hopefulness. Romans 5:3-4 says, "And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope." Last year, seeing my roses covered in aphids was so discouraging, but it taught me how to deal with the issue. And with a little patience, I was rewarded eventually with some blooms. This year, when the first buds began forming, the first aphids were there as well. However, I had gained some experience and was able to quickly deal with them before any damage was done. The result is a shrub covered in buds and the hope of a gorgeous flush of blooms. Our trials teach us patience. They stretch us and grow us, and experience leads to hope. The more I face, the more the Lord proves His ability to work all things out. He grows my faith and my confidence in Him, and that is where my hope lies.